now hear some stories from one of your colleagues at Microsoft, who's now the corporate vice president over AI and research, and that's Lili Cheng. Let's hear from Lili.
That's great.
Thanks, Daniel. Congratulations, Ray. I thought I'd share with you all a few stories about Ray. One story actually started right here in the Computer History Museum. In 2010, we were here for the 50th anniversary of Plato. So, that was a long time ago. And I remember we were listening to Don Bitzer up on stage talking about Plato, and Ray kind of poked me in the arm and he said, this is where it all began. It was the first collaboration software, the first network computers, so many first. The first, they built these games that people could play, multiplayer games, education software, first bulletin boards where students were talking. And of course, that was also very controversial because students talking in the University of Illinois for a government-funded project during Watergate meant that Don Bitzer's funding, he was really building something that was new, that was very, very controversial with the government. So he was shielding his team from, a lot of criticism that he was getting. And, that was new information for Ray at the time. So I just love how Ray always honors that history and was amazed that he was really there, in the very beginning of so many parts. My second story is really our time together, which we spent a lot of time working when Ray was at Microsoft. And I'm just so grateful. I can't imagine Microsoft without our cloud, Microsoft Azure, and the big workloads that helped companies bring all their software to the cloud, Office 365, all of your communications. And again, this was like an idea that seems so obvious, and Ray is always so great at looking at the big picture and the foundation and just going for the center. And sometimes the biggest innovations are those things in the center that so many people don't do because they think someone else is doing it, or it might be too challenging or might be too difficult. And I'm just grateful for what you did for Microsoft and how much that changed the culture and all products and customers, and just how much I learned doing that. Maybe my last story is something very personal. I used to really love the early internet culture, which I still do. But it was, at the time, people thought it was crazy people building social software, talking about ham sandwiches and their cats. And they weren't serious computer scientists. They were kind of slackers. And so I loved these people, and I probably was one of them. And we built a conference around people in academia who were information scientists, bloggers, and also a lot of the early startups. And I invited Ray. He had just started at Microsoft, and I wasn't sure if he was going to come because he was really busy. And I was just so touched that he showed up. He showed up early, sat in the back, had this big smile on his face. And, everyone was just so amazed that this, figure, this person that we had really learned so much from, was just sitting there hanging out. And we were trying to get him to give a talk. And he was like, no, I don't want to give a talk. So people just sort of picked up their chairs because they're very outgoing, and they circled him and just kind of did a spontaneous vote with your feet. And it was just perfect. And I think that it's not a surprise or, just an odd coincidence that Ray, given his character, his willingness to listen, and the way he builds teams and the way he builds products and thinks about communication and lives communication, it's not a surprise that, you're really innovated so much, because I think that character and that spirit is so obvious in every product that you built and really shaped so much collaboration that, we've just come to believe as, obvious and given today out in the world. So thank you so much for how much you taught me, and thank you so much just for, everything you've done. Thanks.
Thank you, Lili.
Yeah, Lili, thank you. What a testament. That's
that was great.
So well said.